Does that mean that Taiwanese investors see China as a big risk or something else?
I don't know. Maybe the most difficult, or as you say, look China as a bomb, a very dangerous place. To me, my observation is maybe the trough, the bottom, now a little bit up.
It's bottoming out at the moment.
I feel that.
Okay.
I feel that.
Interesting observation.
That's
a lot of worrisome. It happened maybe 1 year ago or even like earlier. Nowadays, people maybe kind of like hesitate. But a big evacuation. I don't know.
자, 글로벌머니토크 오늘은 화면 보고 깜짝 놀라셨을 텐데 이프로님 대신에 제가 왔습니다. 네.
웰컴.
반갑습니다. 네, 열심히 잘해보겠습니다. 오늘 글로벌머니토크 제가 어떤 분 나오신다는 얘기를 듣고 요거는 꼭 해야겠다 싶어서 제가 적극하겠다고 말씀을 드렸는데 화면에도 보이다시피 굉장히 오늘
대만에서 오신 손님.
대만에서 오셨습니다. 며칠 안 계시죠?
그렇죠.
네.
그러니까 한국의 뭐랄까 퀀트 이른바 이제 계량 투자죠. 퀀트 투자자하고 만나서 코워크를 하기 위해서 파트너십을 구축하기 위해서 오신.
네.
사실 근데 대만의 아주 최대 금융 그룹이죠. First Securities Holding. 여기 산하의 First Securities Management 회장님이 오셨어요.
회장님이 오셨습니다.
Chair, Mr. Chair.
네. So, should we start?
Sure.
Okay. So we have a very special guest today from Taiwan, former president of JP Morgan, Taiwan and Hong Kong, and now current chairman of First Securities Investment Trust, Mr. Paul Yu. Thank you for your time with SamproTV.
Yeah.
So many things to talk about, like TSMC, semiconductor, China issue, many things. But like before we start, like our viewers just want to know, have an introduction about yourself and your company.
Sure. So 안녕하세요, and so happy to meet Kam Nam Yu and Min Jung Myung.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully I pronounced correctly.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. My company is First Securities Investment Trust, and we are one of the 39 asset management in Taiwan, and our company actually majority hold by the state-owned company. I have to say it's Ministry of Finance, so more like a state-owned companies. And we manage around $3.4 billion asset size, so including equity and bonds, and we have a big portion in money market fund. And our company, I think we quite advanced. We also having a license doing the private equity business, started from last year. So looking forward, I think we not only having some good thematic funds like in AI robotic, AI medical, and we also just having a fund in space, aerospace ETF last year. But looking forward, we are also marching to the private assets, doing like renewable, solar, and some electricity storage. So that's the brief about my company, asset management company in Taiwan.
So your company is running $3.4 billion.
US dollar. I think we probably not big, but we try to be a boutique, specialized to some certain investment sectors. Yeah.
Paul, let me check a point. Is that you mentioned that your firm is controlled by state-owned financial
Minister
group.
of Finance.
State-owned financial company in Taiwan.
Yes.
How about the independence in daily managing or the investment decision? Is fully guaranteed, or do you have any direct control from the governments.
Oh yeah, our company is a listed company, and government actually control around 40%. So the daily operating, I think it's normally like every financial entities in Taiwan. But for some certain policies, probably we need to be a company need to follow and need to work together with government. Some policy.
Yes, so you mentioned some policy. Let's go one step further.
Yeah.
Is the some policy? What does it mean? Is
like during the COVID, our financial holding subsidiary, the banks, need to lend to certain small shops, like a restaurant, kind of helping them, finance them during the COVID. And with some lower rate, interest rate, trying to help the consumption. And like us, we are having a private equity fund, and we were focusing on infrastructure assets. So trying to be a platform, conduits, bringing the public capital into the infrastructure assets. So this is also trying to accompany with the government policy. Yeah.
So how's your company's profits like these days? Because like you said, you're investing in like AI, just robotics, bio, fintech and stuff. But like these days, like these tech stocks are not very good at the high interest rate. So how's the profits? You mentioned a very good point. If you look those tech stocks for the past 3-5 years during the COVID was sharply up. Everyone know Meta, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they're pretty strong. However, last year, when second half of last year, the interest rate going sharply up, so all the equity valuation re-evaluated by the market. So second half of 2022, actually all the tech stocks, boom, it's like falling down. But this year, if you look at those tech stocks, like our AI funds, actually they're coming back again. And now I think it's maybe the valuation looks not cheap. However, I think the whole market are chasing those tech stocks, and maybe these few months a little bumpy. But to me, I think that's still a theme, a thematic, and the industry growth maybe driven by those tech stocks going forward. I do believe, but probably stock price would be bumpier. All in all, we still need to check about their earnings, whether it is solid enough. Solid enough.
It's Paul. You mentioned, you said that it's a bumpy period at the moment. So what does it mean? Is the bumpy period is just at the moment is bottoming out, or the any some kinds of underneath the low point of big cycle?
I think people are talking about AI, and we have seen, especially like in Taiwan, we are very strong in hardware. So AI application not only from our mobile phone, but from cars and from maybe daily living activities or from telecom. We do see the AI application will maybe boost the economy. Like the reason why I'm here in Korea is looking for some partner doing the quantitative investment. So quant investment also related to AI, because they're using maybe good hardware, GPU, to collect all different various kind of data and helping us to do the investment. So in Taiwan, I think I've seen like TSMC, they really dominate the AI advanced chips. Those chips called accelerator chips, and those chips are GPU. I think you guys probably heard about NVIDIA. So TSMC actually now dominate more than 95% of those AI accelerator server chips. And those GPU are actually currently within the whole market. I think it's still at the beginning stage, infant stage. So you're checking about TSMC AI high advanced GPU chips. The whole revenue is only 5%. So people talking about if our data center, the demands for data center in the AI training or AI accelerator GPU stuff, I think the visibility is high going forward in the next like 3 or 5 years. And yesterday I also talking to the institutions here in Korea, not only the chips, but the server. I think the supply chain also has a high demand. That's a current situation. Yeah.
So the AI part in your fund is you're talking about is about hardware, right? Not much about software.
Yeah, you are right. I think we have 4 AI funds. One is AI fintech, and one is AI robotic and machine robotic, and one is AI medical, precision medicine. At the number 4, I think is more like AI software. So I have to say maybe 75% I think is in hardware.
Okay.
Yeah, software maybe.
Paul,
25%.
as I heard, this main China is one of superpower in AI.
Yeah.
How did you find AI in main China?
Yeah.
And have you ever invested in any firm in main China?
Yeah. In my company, we do have China funds. It's like most of the asset managers in Taiwan, they definitely will have 1 or 2, some asset manager, maybe more China funds. But in my company, we do have 1 AI funds. China funds, but not specifically into the AI industry in China. But to me, I think China will be a very big market for doing the AI activities because they kind of like a frog leap, jumping very quickly.
Okay,
so
yeah, I see.
if you look
Quantum jumping.
If you look their consumption behavior, I think they probably pretty advanced. They already have a lot of data. So it's just see how the industry apply those data to their own sectors. So, but the hardware, like in terms of the chips, the China-U.S. relationship, I think the barricades for them to doing the advanced hardware now still at a difficult environment, still in a difficult environment, like the chips, like those servers. Yeah.
Okay, but like, why isn't your fund investing in China AI? Like you said, your fund is investing in other sectors of China, not AI in China.
Not specifically in China
including AI.
Yeah, including AI, including AI. Yeah.
Right.
Like, do you consider Tencent as an AI company? Tencent.
Tencent.
We have very limited information about.
Sorry.
Tencent.
Like
Tencent
Tencent, we do invest through our China fund.
Oh, really?
Tencent. Tencent.
Tencent. It's
Tencent,
Tencent.
like the gaming.
Actually, it's
Tencent.
known as gaming and SNS. But you said actually these days the Tencent is turning into AI
like
company.
Like a Google. Tencent.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Please say deeper again, please.
I think Tencent pretty strong, and at the foundation, the base to develop AI, it's enormous opportunity. Because Tencent kind of like US, the Google, and they also developing their gaming platform. So they have a lot of data. So I do believe their own research, internal AI research team will be a good opportunity to further develop the AI activities.
Have you found Tencent have interest in some kinds of generative AI.
I think they have a capability to develop the generative AI. But I think it maybe also kind of sensitive, because China government probably also kind of intervene or control certain development of this type of AI.
What makes you think about that? About what you just mentioned? Why is its government has some limitation about developing AI? Do they have that? Do you mean do they have the control over developing it, or?
Yeah, because we are living at a democracy. Environmental system. But maybe
in China.
In China
there is different story. You mean? Okay.
Yes.
The authoritative regime control.
Yes.
It's a generative AI such as ChatGPT. So do you think it depends heavily? It depends on any freedom of speech, any kind of other kinds of liberty, freedom?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Paul, because you said that it's a tension between the United States and the main China.
Yeah.
Actually, Taiwan, your home country, is a hotspot at the moment between G2's is conflict.
Yeah.
So in terms of investments, how did you find the main China tech sector or the AI sector?
I think the tension between U.S. and China and related to AI sector investment, especially for the hardware, I think it's good for Taiwan, and for China would be a little bit difficult in terms of the hardware, because if you look at the chips or the AI servers, I think the U.S. having some certain of sanctions or barricades towards the China hardware development. So if you ask me, people nowadays in Taiwan really keep putting investment into the China. Maybe have a trend decreasing. Decreasing. That's my observation. But the whole China index, the market, it seems like kind of like at a trough. Maybe in the next foreseeing future can be a little bit up, but nowadays, if you ask me, Taiwanese people investing in China is getting slow. It's getting slow. Yeah, not only like financial investors, but also the manufacturing. Yeah.
So what about when did it upcycle in terms of Taiwanese investments in main China? It's 2 years ago or 5 years ago?
The peak, the upside. I think it's more than 5 years ago.
5 years
because
ago.
You think about Taiwan, the current ruling party, Miss President Tsai, is from the DPP. So he being the president from 2016. So people saying about maybe after DPP being the ruling party in Taiwan, the two sides relationships getting tougher. So for the past few years, I think kind of like investment amount is gradually down. Yeah, gradually down.
Paul, how
5 years ago, maybe at the peak.
So far we talked about the AI or tech sector.
Yeah.
What about housing and the real estate development in main China? I guess it is my guess.
Yeah.
I guess many Taiwanese investors heavily put their money in real estate or the housing market in main China when they boom time. Boom time.
Yeah.
Is there any spillover effects so far? Because as you know, the housing market in main China is have got
Yeah.
slowed at
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any effects,
Okay.
side effect or the spillover
Yeah.
effect?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question. Our government actually regularly to check and to survey to understand about the whole systems, how especially like financial entities like the banks in China, whether they have exposure to the China real estate. And not only the banks, because most of the banks, they have activities, they have branches in China. So that's from the financial banks checking about what's the exposure to the real estate property market in China. And to asset management part, they're also asking about how much exposure are we investing into property stocks in China, and how much bond investments, because a lot of property company in China, they're issuing the bond. So how much property bonds, property companies bonds we investing in. So all those exposure, I just have to say, become a small number, pretty small number, pretty small. So if you ask me about Taiwan enterprise manufacturing companies, I don't think they investing into real estate too much. They probably investing into the factories, manufacturing factory. Those are capex. But to the property investment, our manufacturing exposure is not big. So overall, so far I think it's controllable for China's property market. Now it's a difficult, very difficult time.
I'm going to ask about the general thinking, perception shared by the middle class in Taiwan. They have still interested in any investments in China.
You mean Taiwan investors?
Yeah, Taiwan investors, small as a retail investors.
Retail investors. As I say, I think they nowadays they kind of cautiously invest into China. And what would be the best indicators for you to understand the retail interest in China? Look at the Taiwan ETF, China ETF. I think the volume, AUM, it's kind of like a shrinking. And similar happened to our China fund. I think the size are probably not like a growing, but keep at a low level. However, I do believe China is one of the familiar market for our retail investors. So if any positive sign, it probably will get attention or money from retail again. Because as I mentioned, most of the asset managers like us, we do have China funds. And ETF in Taiwan kind of like booming. Like myself, even China looks like bumpy for the past like 3 years, but they're still putting money. So allocation-wise, I do believe Taiwanese people, same language, same religious, and manufacturing, I think still exchange, it's understanding. So short answer is most of people, they do allocate to China as part of a percentage-wise. However, the size probably they decrease. And now I hope it cannot be worse. That's my short answer.
From that decreasing point of view, is that because of the geopolitical tension or just purely China's economy shrinking?
I think started from U.S.-China relationship, and people have seen China kind of like difficulties, a lot of barricades to do the further development, and also haven't seen China government more strict restrictive policy coming to the market, and that may be scare not only Taiwanese investors but a lot of foreign investors. So that may be from the starting point 3 years, 4 years ago. And nowadays, I think they look at the whole China system, especially like you mentioned about the property, the spill effect to the China finance system. It kind of like people worry about how big the problem will be. So that makes Taiwanese investors, not only retail, I think the insurance institution as well, they kind of like slow down the investment to China.
Does that mean that Taiwanese investors see China as a big risk or something else?
I think the I don't know, maybe the most difficult, or as you say, look China as a bomb, a very dangerous place. To me, my observation is maybe the trough, the bottom, now a little bit up.
It's bottoming out at the moment.
I feel that.
Okay.
I feel
it's
that.
interesting observation.
That's
A lot of worrisome. It happened maybe 1 year ago or even like earlier. Nowadays, people maybe kind of like hesitate. But a big evacuation. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. That's my observation.
Yeah, like these days, we can't expect anything to be like anything is not. Everything is unpredictable, like the war, the prices,
Paul, let me have a peek into the some general perception of retail investors in Taiwan on the geopolitical tension. So what do they think about the geopolitical tension from the perspective of retail investors?
I think for Taiwanese retail investors, when you ask them geopolitical risk, maybe they not widely, like globally, talking about Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, maybe they also have some information. But when talking about geopolitics, maybe the Strait, the China-Taiwan part, they pay more attention on it. And in Taiwan, retail investors, the citizens, the voters, I do believe they, unlike people like you guys sitting outside Taiwan, or like my friends in London or in New York, or they worry quite a lot. But people in the ship, in the island, they actually not worry quite a lot. I think that's a phenomenon in Taiwan. I think maybe they get used to this type of situation. You ask me the phenomenon from the retail investors. I don't think they really worry about, scared about it. However, we are having a big president election in the next 3 months. So if you look those candidates or the parties like KMT, DPP or TPP, there are 3 parties and 1 independent candidate, Terry Guo, who is from the Foxconn, the owner of Foxconn. And the 4 candidates, I think all of them, their China-Taiwan policy won't be changed quite a lot. Trust me. Status quo will be the policy. Maintain the same. We interpreted our country identity. They interpreted their own, So
you see there will be like a low possibility of like armed conflict, further issue.
I think low.
Very low.
My personal opinion, observation is China, unlike Russia, China highly related to the international market. So if China really have some action, then the sanction from international world will be fierce, will be ferocious, and the negative impact to the China whole environment will be difficult.
But from now on, let's talk about your main technology giant, TSMC. As a fund manager, How have you found the competitiveness of TSMC? Some analysts in Wall Street worry about the TSMC could be hit by the United States policy against main China because they have a doubt TSMC could be a kind of a channel through which is a high-tech technology, semiconductor technology could spill over to main China. What kinds of long-term view have you have?
Okay. I think if you ask about the enterprise or stocks, one of the fundamental analysis definitely go into the profit side. So we're talking about the earning. So if you look at the TSMC, I think TSMC 2-3 years ago, the earning per share, EPS, probably at the $20 level, and gradually going up to 30, like last year plus this year. I think now maybe 33. And looking forward in the next like 2-3 years, we are expecting over 40, 40. So 2025, sell side analysts, as you just mentioned, probably only have like a 3 years forecast. So 2025, 2026, considering 47 to 48, close to 50. So if you look at these numbers, I think Taiwan valuation, like the PE, it's at the 15 to 20 level. Like Korea, maybe it's like a 10, 13, around 13 level. So give TSMC around like 18, then times maybe EPS like a 50. So I think now price is like 600, less than 600. I think easily to go like a 800. That's the next 3 years. If you ask me the competitiveness, and I'm using the finance numbers to demonstrate about how the market look at this company. And now go into more technical side. As I just mentioned, Taiwan semiconductor industry, I think it's not only TSMC. So the strength, competitiveness for Taiwan semiconductor, I think it's like Korea as well. I think we have from the upstream, the IC design, and then to the foundry, and then to the testing, packaging, and like a PCB, motherboard, etc. So the full supply chain, it's competitiveness for our next few years. So also give you a sample. People sharing me the information about TSMC moving to Arizona, starting up the fab. However, there are some difficulties because not only the supply chains, but people working there. For example, like our engineer, similar like Korea engineer. I think the behavior attitude for hard working
it's a little bit different.
It's very different culturally it's different. So anyway, I think the competitiveness in terms of the in-depth of the human being or culture-wise, I think Taiwan like Korea, I think can at least relatively to the European or US semiconductor industry, we still have the competitiveness. And also I mentioned about the AI booming. So if you look at the revenue from AI in TSMC or the profit from AI in TSMC, now it's still at the single digit level. And if you look at the, how to say, the 制程, the nano 3, nano 2, I think TSMC probably had the lead for other competitors. So those AI GPUs chips are going to nano 3 or Nano 2, now capacity occupy only less than 50%. So they were prepared. Once the AI demands are getting up, they still have the competitiveness and most important, the capacity, being well prepared to do this development.
How about the weaker side or risky side about TSMC? What do you see as an investor?
Okay. I think 3 things. One, Intel, Samsung, overcome, catching up, competitiveness. Second, I think like Arizona, Japan, Europe, and those engineers bring all the families and getting used to those environment. And third, I think people saying, I think the current news, I just read it from the current news in Taiwan. One of the famous analysts arguing about the financial structures because so much capex going outside, maybe the debt ratio or the way doing the finance.
Those worries, I think, personally, are very small compared to the strength, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. To wrap up, just like last question, because you've been involved in stock market for over 20 years, 30 years. So do you have any advice to the Korean investor to the stock market in especially this kind of troubled stock market, like globally wars and inflations and stuff?
I see. So to the retail investors, I think we probably difficult to check a lot of numbers, but having a good computation analytic skill and come up with some risk signals for the investors, it will be make a lot of sense. Especially nowadays, we have too much data. So our global capital market is highly correlated. So short answer is that I think for retail investors, maybe not just only the fundamental, the news, how hard you spend time to understand the fundamental. Sometimes the capital market is highly correlated. It's kind of like one data affected another data. Then if you have a more systematic approach, getting the risk signals, I think it's helpful for investors. This is why I'm here, trying to work a good company.
Okay, Paul, thank you for your time with SamproTV. It was a great interview, and in very short time, we're looking forward to invite you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And I really enjoyed your mentions about the Taiwanese perception against on the geopolitical risk between the main China and Taiwan.
Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
자, 그러면 글로벌 머니토크 저희도 이만 여기서 인사드리도록 하겠습니다. 저희는 다음에 또 알찬 인터뷰 가지고 돌아오도록 하겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.